has a history full of injustice and sorrow, taking her own life in the house, and her presence was felt in moments of spent 5 years. 5 before the Whaley house was even built.
The house has been around since 1856, built by a merchant named Thomas Whaley. Some people say Thomas Whaley still lives here, in spirit. We visited at night, naturally. That's when you'd expect spirits to come out. The Whaley house is a museum now, and June Redding has been the director for almost 25 years. A very pleasant, very rational woman who is convinced the Whaley house is haunted. Consensus is that there are 4 main spirits: Thomas Whaley, his wife Anna, a little girl who used to play with the Whaley children, and a sailor named Yankee Jim Robinson. Yankee Jim was hanged for stealing a boat in 1852, 4 years before the Whaley house even existed, but the gallows stood right here, where the downstairs archway of the house was later built.
Nestled in the haunting heart of old town San Diego, the Whaley house looms like a specter from a bygone era. This meticulously restored and refurbished landmark invites the brave to explore its dark corridors and mysterious rooms. Begun on May 6, 1856, by the determined Thomas Whaley, this house, completed in 1857, bears the weight of many ghostly tales. Perched at the eerie intersection of San Diego Avenue and Harney Street, the Whaley house once served as the county courthouse in 1869. Were it not for the tireless efforts of San Diegans, this eerie abode might have crumbled into dust. Today, it stands as a museum, its rooms filled with donated relics that whisper secrets of the past.
Built in 1857 by Thomas Whaley, the house has seen everything from being a general store to a courthouse and even a theater. Okay, but what really sets it apart is his haunted history. Now, it's not just the old house, but it's a place. It's a line between reality and supernatural that gets seriously blurred. Now, let's dive into the spooky tale of the Whaley house together. So, back in the 1960s, people started noticing some really weird things happening at the Whaley house.
So get this, back in 1960, Dr. Kirby and his wife had some pretty wild experiences at the Whaley house. Between 1:30 and 2:30 p.m., she felt this weird breeze over her head and this strange pressure that actually kept her from going upstairs. Creepy, right? And then there's Hans Holzer, the famous paranormal investigator. One morning around 10, he heard footsteps crossing the bedroom floor. At first, he thought it was just the workmen, but turns out no one was around. He also heard music and a woman singing "Home Again" for about 30 seconds. Can you imagine just hearing that out of the blue? People have seen the apparition of a slight woman in a hoop skirt, but she just vanishes before they can get a good look. There's also a black rocking chair that starts moving back and forth on its own for a full 3 minutes. Visitors have reported hearing the cries of a 16-month-old baby, whistling sounds, and even smelling cigar smoke and perfume in the parlor. Sometimes you can catch a whiff of baking smells too. And then there's this Victorian-era man that people keep seeing. Pretty wild stories, huh?
Imagine, walking through and suddenly a feeling of cold draft or catching the scent of perfume when no one is around. I mean, super creepy, right? Mr. and Mrs. James Redding experienced these strange events while restoring the house and decided they had to get to the bottom of it. Good luck. I'm not messing with ghosts. So Hans Holzer, a famous ghost hunter, and his medium friend, Sybil Leek, came to check it out. Sybil wasn't just a medium, so she was a well-known author and one of Britain's most famous witches. Pretty cool, right? So her expertise made her a valuable part of the team. Okay, Holzer discovered something pretty dark about the Whaley house. It was built on the very spot where a man named Yankee Jim Robinson was hanged in 1852 for borrowing a boat.
I am Yankee Jim Robinson. I was captured due to a crime concerning borrowing a boat. I was wounded during my capture and dragged into the carriage. Unconscious during the trial. The judge was a drunk and the jury and townspeople wanted blood. I was not ready to die. Everything happened so fast. I was sentenced to hanging. They pulled the wagon out under me. Because the scaffold was not high enough, the fall didn't break my neck. He just strangled for almost 20 minutes until I died.
His execution was brutal, taking nearly 20 minutes for him to die. Now, this happened 5 years. 5 before the Whaley house was even built. But it left a lasting mark on the land. Now, during the investigation, Holzer and Leek encountered several ghostly entities. Before even knowing the house history, Sybil Leek contacted the spirits within. Among them were Yankee Jim Robinson. Footsteps echoed across the bedroom floor, believed to be his restless spirit. Tragic and forlorn, she had taken her own life in the house, and her presence was felt in moments of overwhelming sadness. That was for the daughter. And Thomas Jr., the cries of an infant were heard, reminiscent of the Whaley's young son who died at 18 months. So the Whaley house has a history full of injustice and sorrow. Thomas Whaley himself felt wronged when the county prematurely broke their contract.
Our contract shows that portion of that house was leased to the country. I was to supply furniture and set it as a courtroom. I provided 2 windows for light, a valid agreement. After the records were forcefully removed, I felt I was done injustice because my lease had been broken due to 2 communities fighting over the country seat. The county had told me that, as long as the court continued to function here, the contract between them and me would be valid. After a while, I was then told that my family and I need to move out, despite all the work and money I had put into building it.
Adding to the house's aura of discontent, Sybil Leek sensed that Thomas Whaley's spirit was still angry over these injustices and the placement of another house on his property.
Thomas Whaley, I sense your anger. Your enemies are long gone, yet you remain guarding this house. The injustice you felt still binds you here, and the placement of another house in your property disturbs your spirit.
What else do you perceive, Sybil?
There's an other presence. A Russian hunter who died while seeking sea otters in the...
Sea otters, really?
You know the presence is here, but spirit lingers, lost and confused.
A Russian? That's unexpected. We must delve deeper into this connection.
What do you think about Sybil's connection with the Russian spirit? Maybe the sea otters also still lingering over there. Have you ever encountered something unexpected during a supernatural experience? While in trance, Sybil Lee connected with the unexpected spirit of a Russian who had died in the San Diego area while hunting sea otters. This revelation was surprising, as very few people knew the Russians visited San Diego during the period when the Spanish were not actively occupying the area. Hans Holzer's findings at the Whaley house corroborated the tales of the Reddings and the museum director. Seances revealed spectral presences communicating their anguish. So Sybil Leake's mediumistic abilities played a crucial role in interpreting these signals, from beyond. Her expertise added significant weight on their findings. So today, the Whaley house stands as a museum, meticulously restored and open to the public. So while most furnishings are donated by citizens, did you know that? The haunting atmosphere still persists. Paranormal activity often peaks when the museum's closed. So visitors continue to report ghostly sightings and eerie situations, preserving the legacy of Hans Holzer's investigation and the Whaley house's spectral inhabitants. The spirits of Yankee Jim, Violet, and Thomas Jr. and others still roam the halls. Their story is a crucial reminder of the dark and mysterious past, man. Would you visit the Whaley house yourself? What would you hope to experience there? So the haunting tale of the Whaley house serves as a stark reminder of the thin veil between our world and the next. So if you found this story so very much compelling, stay tuned for more spine-chilling tales, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more historical mysteries and ghost stories. Until next time, keep your eyes open. You never know what might be taking in the shadows. Bye-bye. I hope you sleep well.